Governor J.B. Pritzker reacting to President Donald Trump's address to the nation last night. And immigration enforcement continues as the Illinois Accountability Office set to meet today to oversee allegations of wrongdoing by immigration enforcement officers. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Good morning. I'm Greg Bishop with you, editor of Illinois at thecentersquare.com. Go to thecentersquare.com and check out the latest headlines where you can see more than what we're going to be covering today, including Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch saying that opting into the school choice program for the federal government, quote, not even close, as he says he's looking for 60 Democrats to sign on for it. What about the 40 Republicans that are ready to approve it? Plus, you've got more about the decoupling law. Governor J.B. Pritzker talking about that, and Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza blasting Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget proposal as the city council is still haggling over what exactly to do with that particular situation in Chicago where they've got an end-of-month deadline to pass a budget. Could they possibly pass it sometime this week? Jim Talamonte with the Center Square is going to be monitoring for that, and we're kind of, a little bit of bias. We're kind of crossing our fingers that something gets done before the Christmas holiday, just because it's the Christmas holiday, and if they have to, we'll be covering it throughout the holiday. But let's see if they get that thing buttoned up before the end of the week. We shall see. So those are things that you can find at thecentersquare.com. Again, you can get the newsletter in your inbox each and every weekday morning and wake up with us here with Illinois in Focus. And get the podcast where you get podcasts. But join us here and spread the word. It is Illinois in Focus each and every weekday morning here with the Center Square. President Donald Trump addressing affordability as he talked to the nation in prime time last night, while Governor J.B. Pritzker in the state of Illinois, which has the highest property taxes in the country and the second highest gas taxes and corporate taxes among the highest, and all kinds of spending that's at record levels year after year under Pritzker's watch, and more tax increases on the way for transit. Governor Pritzker blasting the president, saying that things are less affordable under President Donald Trump. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you each and every weekday morning. Be sure to get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com. Again, thecentersquare.com. All right, so last night, President Donald Trump delivered around an 18-minute speech to the nation in prime time, and he talked about affordability. He talked about the border. He talked about the economy. He talked about tariffs, and he also talked about a bonus going to members of the military worth $1,776. And that, of course, is 1776, being the birthday of this country with the Declaration of Independence, and next year in 2026, celebrating the 250th birthday of the U.S. So the president seeming to come out of the gates talking about affordability. And after the speech, you have Governor J.B. Pritzker, who some say he's looking to make a bid for the White House in 2028, responding. So let's go ahead and hear some of what the president had to say last night in prime time about a variety of things, including showing some graphs comparing the Biden administration with the Trump administration when it comes to wage growth.
Years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000. Under Trump, the typical factory worker is seeing a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. It's $3,300. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation. Remember that. Wages are going up much faster than inflation. Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector.
So Trump talking about inflation and wage growth. He also talked about the tariffs that have been pretty controversial and being considered by the U.S. Supreme Court.
Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers.
So you got the president talking about tariffs and how that's bringing companies back to the United States to set up manufacturing centers and so much more. He also talked about energy prices that he says in his 11 months in office for his second non-consecutive term, he's brought down energy prices.
On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon. And within the next 12 months, we will have opened 1,600 new electrical generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody. Or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically.
Now, prices of electricity in Illinois on the rise. You've got more policies focused on so-called green energy, clean energy, or renewable energy. And the bill on the governor's desk that opponents say is going to increase the cost of energy even more in Illinois. Illinois has high gas taxes, second highest in the nation. And if you drive across this border into Missouri or Indiana or Kentucky, you'll likely see cheaper gas prices. That's because Illinois tax on like 40 plus cents to every gallon. That's on top of the federal gas tax. Plus, Illinois has a sales tax on top of the gas tax. So Illinois, while you've got policies that the state has put in place, that's causing energy prices in the state within its borders to increase. But across the country, Trump's saying that it's a different story. We'll get to what Governor J.B. Pritzker had to say in an email last night from his campaign, not from his official office, but from his campaign. So obviously it's political. But here's the president talking about health care and how he says that's next on his plate to tackle.
It's the Unaffordable Care Act, and everybody knew it. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health care at a much lower price. The only losers will be insurance companies that have gotten rich and the Democrat Party, which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, but that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost.
So the president talking about health care, talking about the economy. He also touched on immigration and border security. But before that, let's go to what the governor had to say from his campaign in an email. He says that President Donald Trump spent 18 minutes boasting about delivering on the economy, despite the fact, the governor says, that all he's delivered is higher prices, stagnant wage growth, and extreme uncertainty for American families. And the governor says the Illinois GOP is letting him get away with it. Quote, Donald Trump's primetime address celebrating his failing economy was an insult to the millions of Americans spending more than ever on their groceries, electric bills, and health care. The truth is, Trump doesn't care how much working people spend at the grocery store. He cares about the corporations and secret donors funding his new ballroom. the governor says. He shares some statistics. Says the numbers speak for themselves. Claims that energy prices are up 13% since Trump took office. Wage growth is at its lowest point since May of 2021. Pritzker says consumer debt is at an all-time high. Unemployment's at a 4-year high as of November 25. Grocery prices have increased overall since he took office, despite him saying otherwise. While nearly half of Americans already report difficulty paying their health care, Trump and his allies are doubling the cost for millions of Americans. And due in part to his tariffs, the U.S. has lost tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs this year. Governor Pritzker continues from his campaign office. Anyone hoping tonight's address would recognize the realities that families are facing must be disappointed. Trump has no intention of righting the ship. In fact, he's doubling down on policies that are failing families in Illinois. Some Republicans across the country are finally waking up to the MAGA spell. Pritzker says. He says that Trump's already faced political setbacks. The Indiana GOP bucked him on his redistricting efforts. House Republicans voted to release the Epstein files after Trump fought to conceal them, which, by the way, apparently those are going to be coming out tomorrow by the law that Congress passed. So we'll see exactly what comes out there. Voters, even in Republican strongholds, have handed Trump and his party a string of embarrassing election defeats. Pritzker goes on to say, but the Illinois GOP is still backing him 100%, no matter how much it costs working families in our state. The question is, will Illinois Republicans stand up with Trump as their constituents suffer, or will they actually stand up and tell him to stop destroying the economy? The Illinois GOP needs to make a choice. Buck Trump now, or own the havoc he's wreaking on everyday working people in Illinois. So that's the governor's response. Now, I would imagine there's going to be people out there essentially plucking apart what the governor said there and holding up a mirror saying, look at Illinois. Illinois' unemployment rate is higher than the national average, always seems to be the case. Illinois traditionally takes longer to recover from economic downturns like the housing crisis in 2008 and 2009, like the COVID pandemic took us longer than most of the country to rebound to get to the job levels pre-COVID. You have the high cost of energy, and it continues to increase more so than other states. You've got high gas taxes. You've got record level government spending in the state. You've got the state of Illinois with the lowest credit rating of all states, and that's despite having multiple, modifications of the state's credit rating. You've got the highest, pension liability around, with the taxpayer cost thousands of dollars just for paying the pensions of people who are no longer working as public sector employees in Illinois. You've got just a whole host of it, including Illinois' migrant sanctuary policies, which we'll touch on in the next segment. But back to President Trump talking about border security. He says that his administration's getting it in order.
Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again.
And Trump went on to talk about the improvements he's made.
Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been allowed into our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best.
And the president talking about trying to combat plunder of American resources by individuals with bad intentions.
Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state, and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again.
And he also had a message for members of the military. You're getting a bonus.
Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. And what a difference a year makes.
That's the president's just highlights from his address, and of course sharing with you what Governor J.B. Pritzker had to say. And if you look at statements from Illinois' congressional delegation, you can pretty much come to a conclusion that it's partisan, right? Democrats blasted the president, Republicans praised the president. And we're going to be wrapping up the year here in 2025, ushering in 2026, which is an election year, midterm elections coming up, and how all the numbers are going to shake out, what the economy is going to look like over the next 8 months or so. Pretty fascinating. But here in Illinois, we've got less than 3 months before the March primary, where Republicans are going to select their Republican candidates and Democrats are going to select their Democrat candidates before the November election. So we got a lot to cover, all right? It's right here with Illinois in Focus Daily, each and every weekday morning. I'm Greg Bishop. Thank you so much for being part of the program and joining the live chat as well, so check that out, all right? It's Illinois in Focus, only with the Center Square. Federal immigration enforcement continuing in Illinois as the Illinois Accountability Commission is set to hold its first hearing, taking testimony and evidence of alleged wrongdoing by Border Patrol officials. And it is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you each and every weekday morning. Thank you for being here. Be sure to get the headlines in your inbox. Just go to thecentersquare.com and you can sign up today and get those headlines delivered free. It's completely free to you, so go check that out and share it up as well as you get going on with your day. We're here to watch what's going on with your tax dollars and report to you. So appreciate you guys being here. And let's go ahead and check out some of the latest on the immigration front, as you've got the Illinois Accountability Commission set to meet today. But let's start with Commander Operations at Large, Gregory Bavino, on X, appearing in different places. He's been spotted with Border Patrol officials in Evanston. We'll take a look at some of that. But here's what he had to say on X about local law enforcement. Says, I'd like to thank both Chicago and Evanston police departments who provided assistance in preventing violent mobs from assaulting our law enforcement officers as we were conducting Title VIII immigration duties in the area. Both departments cleared the way for us to continue enforcement efforts unimpeded. I also had the opportunity to engage with the Evanston mayor, who asked why I was in Evanston. I told the mayor we were there to make his city a safe place through Title VIII immigration enforcement and how these enforcement operations work, although he fell back into the divisive talking points that we've heard ad nauseum from politicians in Chicago. I hope it was enlightening to him. I always enjoy meeting and talking with such officials, and today was no exception. Perhaps the mayor will see the light as we continue to remove bad people from Evanston. Excellent day in Evanston, Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bavino said. Now, Governor Pritzker, he addressed the reports of continued immigration enforcement earlier this week, where he talked about the Illinois Commission for Accountability and said that he wants Gregory Bavino to testify for that. And that meeting is today. The governor creating this commission and putting it together, saying that it's necessary to go after wrongdoing and to track it and possibly have it in where they can actually hold people accountable, even if it's later on. Let's see if we can get the governor here talking about immigration enforcement in Chicago. And again, this was earlier this week up in Chicago where the governor was asked this question.
Not given any notice by them, and they seem to already be deploying again with masks and unmarked cars and SUVs into neighborhoods. They call it enforcement, we call it harassment, but we don't know how long they'll stay. It appears that they're here for at least a couple of days, if not longer. So I encourage everyone who can hear me to do as you have, because frankly I'm very proud of the way that Illinoisans have reacted to CBP and ICE, and that's in pulling out your whistles and your phones, video everything, posted online. We have an Illinois Accountability Commission that is now taking testimony, has a hearing on Thursday. I invite Gregory Bavino to testify at the Illinois Accountability Commission. He has some questions that he needs to answer for.
So the governor will saying that he wants Bavino to testify. Bavino again being seen by protesters and media, even libs of TikTok sharing video on X showing the Border Patrol chief there being confronted by Mayor Biss of Evanston. Here's a little bit of that exchange if we can hear it.
Acceptable. Racism is unacceptable, and the violence is unacceptable.
Yeah, it is. That's why we're here. That's why we are in your community, because you refuse to do what we are doing. Violence.
Thank you. What violence are you concerned about?
Violence committed by those that shouldn't be here in your community.
I'm unaware of that happening.
Well, that's probably the problem. Maybe you should get aware of it.
And if you couldn't hear what Bavino was saying there, he says that they're there to address violence in the community by people in the country illegally. And Biss says he's not aware of that. And Bavino says, well, that's probably the problem, not being aware of that, the illegal immigration that's taking place with people in Evanston. And they did make several arrests yesterday in Evanston enforcing illegal immigration. So Biss confronting Bavino, but you've also got him making statements on his social media about the interaction he had with the Border Patrol official.
A bunch of ICE and CBP agents were here. I stood face to face with Greg Bavino right here, and he threatened us, said he's going to continue the enforcement. Of course, what he said was he's keeping us safe from violence, but what we know is that the violence is being perpetrated by federal agents. They had a conversation with our police chief. It sounds like they plan to be here throughout the rest of the day. I'm delighted to say there were tons of rapid responders. There were people pushing back. The tragedy is that as I saw with my own eyes 2 people who they abducted, and I'm told there may be more. It's not clear yet, and I don't want to say anything unless I'm sure it's true. But what I would say is this: stay alert, stay active, keep yourself safe. If you're trained in rapid response, be out and about, and always remember the ICIRR hotline, 855-435-7693. We need to keep each other safe.
So Biss also running for Congress, by the way.
So a few minutes ago, a bunch of
that's something else to consider in this ongoing conversation back and forth. But you got the Department of Homeland Security highlighting how they are making arrests. And this one in particular, they say, to those who assault federal agents, we will hunt you down. We will find you, and justice will be served. Today in Chicago, and this was a couple of days ago, Border Patrol agents arrested Santo Joel Gonzalez Rodriguez, a criminally illegal alien from Mexico, after he threw a rock through the back door of a Border Patrol vehicle. His criminal history includes domestic battery, aggravated assault, burglary, and domestic violence. President Trump and Secretary Noem will always have the back of DHS law enforcement. You can see there the individual suspect and the broken window. Continuing on, Bavino did sit down briefly with an interview with Armando Sanchez, who says, quick interview with U.S. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bavino during an immigration operation at Home Depot Wednesday in Evanston. Let's go ahead and hear what they had to say.
So how's today's operation gone so far?
It's gone good. We're taking criminals off the street here in Chicago, as we always have, Title 8 immigration enforcement. As you can see there in some of the cities, Evanston and other places, there are those mobs that form, but luckily we're, for the first time, receiving some assistance from both Chicago PD and Evanston Police Department. I think probably they're learning a little bit from Louisiana how an orderly, safe enforcement action works, and that's what we're after, is an orderly, safe enforcement action.
And how does Chicago compare in immigration action to New Orleans?
I'll tell you, a lot more violent in Chicago. We were assaulted several times yesterday, and one of the things that we see in Chicago is illegal aliens actually like to come out and try to assault Border Patrol, which is not a smart thing to do. So one of the individuals that assaulted us, you probably already know, had a lengthy criminal history, decided to try to attack a Border Patrol agent with a rock, and that didn't work out too well for him. So.
And if there's anything that you would want to communicate to the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, is there anything that you would like to say, sir?
Sure, whether it's the mayor of Chicago, Johnson, or that mayor of Evanston, they keep asking, why are you in our community? And we always say it's to make your community a safer place. Perhaps they'll also realize that when they allow criminals to walk, when they allow criminals like we apprehended yesterday to walk their streets time and again, it only hurts the American citizens and those inner city residents that come out all the time and give us thumbs up and say, please don't leave Chicago.
What did the mayor of Daniel Biss communicate to you? Did he have anything?
He asked why we were there, and when I told him it was to make his city a safer place, I saw just a brief instance of enlightenment on his face, but then he sank back into the usual tired rhetoric that causes violence. So, it's unfortunately that's what some of those leaders have come to do. But we're here to do a legal, ethical, and moral mission. We're going to continue that.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, sir?
We're here for the taxpayer, Mom and Pa America, and many of those wards will be in those wards protecting America. So we're glad to be here.
So he says they're there for the taxpayer, Mama and Papa. So interesting to hear the commander there discuss that with people on the streets in Evanston. And again, Bavino talking about this and thanking the Chicago Police Department and Evanston Police Department. Some reports were that in Chicago in particular, Chicago PD actually assisted Border Patrol vehicles to move through the city unabated because there was a 911 call reportedly that came in saying that the vehicle was erratic around Border Patrol activity in Chicago. And here we've got another video from Bavino that he posted. Let's go ahead and pull this up from yesterday. Looks like some rideshare drivers in Chicago took a wrong turn. Operation Midway Blitz apprehended 16 illegal aliens operating as rideshare drivers. If you're in the country illegally, you don't get to blend into the gig economy and bypass our immigration laws. We're the best Uber driver, and we'll get them home again. Here's the video that Bavino shared. And I'm actually going to turn that music down so we don't get pinged for copyright, as I'm not sure how the White House officials get around that. But all right. So, again, it's just flashing images of different suspects they've apprehended who are apparently driving Uber in Illinois and in Chicago. Now, the Accountability Commission that Governor J.B. Pritzker started up, you heard him say he wants Bavino to testify at the hearing that's going to be happening today. And let's go ahead and pull up the Illinois Accountability Commission website where you can read for yourself the mission of the commission. The purpose, housed within the Illinois Department of Human Rights, is to create a public record of the conduct of federal agents during Operation Midway Blitz and the Trump administration's military-style operations throughout the Chicagoland area. Additionally, the commission will examine the impact of the conduct on individuals and communities and consider policy recommendations to prevent future harm in Illinois. And there's a purpose and goals. They want to create a public record, examine the impact, consider policy recommendations, more detail about the goal of all of this, especially in the gathering of information. I imagine you'll see a lot of video compiled. And I'm curious if the video is going to be one-sided and edited, or is it going to show entire conflicts, right? Because you can take a 2-minute video and edit it down to make it look like one person's the aggressor when that person was actually responding to the initial aggression. Is it gonna be a full and complete understanding of situations that are taking place? And who is on the commission leadership? You've got the various individuals involved in this. Judge Ruben Castillo, Patricia Brown Holmes being the chair and co-chair, and you've got a slew of commissioners here from a variety of different groups and different industries, universities, law enforcement, and so on. So the governor created this, and they are set to provide a report of some kind next month to the General Assembly, and how this is going to play out. We'll obviously be monitoring the commission hearing today and getting that story out at thecentersquare.com. So be sure to stop over and get the newsletter in your inbox. All right, go to thecentersquare.com. Click newsletter, sign up, it's free. And while you're there, if you are in a giving spirit, you can donate. We are a nonprofit newswire service focusing on how government impacts you, the taxpayer. So go make that happen at thecentersquare.com. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily with you each and every weekday morning. I'm Greg Bishop, editor at The Center Square for Illinois. And we got plenty more to tackle for the rest of the week, even though tomorrow is Friday. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Got to get out of here and get the news day planned and get ready to cover what's going on. Plenty for us to tackle. Just a heads up, we might do some pre-recorded shows next week, or shorter segments, or maybe even best of segments. I got to talk to the team and see what's going on. But I also have some big announcements that we got to share with you about what's going to happen here with the Center Square and Illinois in Focus. Very exciting stuff. You guys are going to definitely want to stay tuned. So like, subscribe, hit that notification bell here on YouTube. Find us on other social media. Just search The Center Square. But go to thecentersquare.com to find out more about what's happening in your state, in your nation's capital, and across the country. Have a great Wednesday. No, it's Thursday. Oh boy, Christmas is next week. Can you believe that? We're like almost to the end of the year. 2025 flew by. That's just, I guess, how it goes. It's the way of the road, bubs. All right, anybody get that joke? All right, have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning with more Illinois in Focus Daily. Really appreciate you guys tuning in and for all the support. All right, stay tuned. told you guys, not getting the joke. It's the way of the road, bubs. Trailer Park Boys. It's a hilarious sitcom. All right, anyways, have a great day. We'll see you soon.